What up, my G&Gets? Mike here. And on today's episode of Yobozi, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. Here we go. You know, we got a lot of names for politicians. You know, some family friendly, some not. But today, I'm just going to be talking about politicians, government, you know, the ones that set up all the rules. And the majority of the time, the people that we elect, we expect them to follow through. But more than not, they usually fail. And today, I'm going to show you guys my 3 proofs that the government doesn't know what they're doing. Now, you can usually spot a winner from a mile away. You know, Michael Jordan, a bunch of UFC guys, and the Dale Earnhardts of the world. And you can usually spot a loser as well. But there's one area you don't know. And maybe, just maybe, our governmental agencies are one of them. And are some of the biggest unknowns of our time. My first proof, gas.
To help them cheat an election.
No, not that type of gas. I'm talking about the fuel you add to your car. And specifically the corn-based fuel. Now, corn is good. I love it. I love it when they put the cheese or whatever they do on there and the spices that they add to it. But corn is used in so many ways. It's used for gas, like ethanol. It's one of the only things gearheads have in common with those governmental agency crazy climate people. So what about ethanol? It makes the motor run cleaner, it adds horsepower, and we all know that is good. So the government, they subsidized, which is a fancy word for saying they paid. And they paid for this new ethanol and made it mandatory to add to gas. So get this, our awesome and brilliant government just found out that it contributes more to global warming than just gas by itself. According to a new study, everything they told us about ethanol was just like everything else. It's just complete and utter bullshit. As it turns out, it's another governmental fantasy. It causes the opposite of its intended goal. Just like electric cars. Yep, you heard it here first. This study comes from the National Academy of Sciences, and it's titled U.S. Corn-Based Ethanol is Worse for the Climate. It's worse for the climate than gasoline. It contradicts the science, you know, the one that we need to trust. They told us it was a clean energy source. And it turns out it's 24% more carbon intensive than just regular gasoline. So farmers got paid, lobbyists got paid, and companies got paid. Our oil refineries had to mix some 50 billion gallons of ethanol into the gas every year. So our government forced an additional acres of land to cultivate this stuff, you know, instead of feeding people. And the tilling of the field released more carbon emissions, and so did the nitrogen that was placed in the soil. So the moral of the story is lobbyists, climate experts, politicians, they're all full of crap. Fertilized nitrogen crap. So for years, I've been told to shut up about this. I don't know what I'm talking about, but here we are. So enough about that. Let's go on to our next topic here, potholes. Potholes suck, and I think everybody can agree on that. These are our city councils, governors, and mayors, just complete stupidity. While our tax dollars are spent making straws illegal and banning generators, our taxes are not being focused on of what they're supposed to be focused on in the first place. And they definitely missed the bar on that. I mean, really, what kind of person, you know, fails at their basic job, but, you know, wants to get rid of straws? Plastic straw. The only thing I can think of is a loser, a political loser. I know when I drive around, I gotta avoid these things like the plague. I can bend a rim on it, or maybe even worse. So it turns out potholes cause an average of $800 every year per driver. That's a lot of money for some car parts. I mean, Californians, where I'm from, you know, we spend a lot of time on the road, and we spend a lot of time looking out for these potholes and trying to dodge them at every turn. Sometimes these politicians focus so much on winning that they forget and they lose sight of what's wrong and what's right. I know things can get complicated with taxes and running a country or city or state, but, you know, you have one basic job to do. Just keep our roads clean and safe. Basic infrastructure. Now I know our world's not all sunshine and, you know, we have our problems. But we need our politicians not only to see the problem, but to find a solution. The politics, sadly, is not helping where it should. And they're just pointing the finger at someone else, while everyone else is giving them the finger. Finally, our road signs. They tell us where to go, how to get there, and what you should and shouldn't be doing. But sometimes they can confuse you, and sometimes they just make you laugh. So here's some road signs I wanted to share with you guys. Just think of how much thought and money and time went into these signs. Now, this sign is obviously, this one's telling you a lie without telling you it's a lie. This next one is just wrong on all levels. I don't know, looks like somebody skipped English class or something. This next one is telling you which way to go and which way not to go. The problem is it's in the same direction. Another example, telling you where to go but where not to go. And here's an example of another lying sign. It's just plain lying. Now this next sign, I don't know if it's a public or private sign, but it's just wrong. Illegally parked cars will be fined. This one is warning you that there is no warning. This next one is pretty obvious. You know, like we didn't know. I really want to know who approved this next one. And this next one is just plain ironic. And so is this one. Another ironic sign. I don't know. I think these people putting up the signs, I think they love putting up signs. Like for instance, this one. This driver, I think, got distracted by how many signs. This next sign, I really don't know what's going on here. You know, if you take a closer look, it's northwest, and you got every other freeway going in the same direction. So, I don't know. Again, this sign, I don't know what's going on here. Wow, I guess you just get out and walk, or what's the deal? Wow, this next sign, well, it's a bunch of signs, but there's definitely some reading material here. I mean, wow. This next sign has a lot wrong with it. Don't know what's going on. So those are my examples of the signs. And digital signs, you know, the ones you see on the freeway, those can be fun to read. And some can be pretty entertaining. So let's take a look. So I hope people watching this agree. You know, I'm not angry. I'm just pointing out, you know, what's wrong. And I like plastic straws. And I like generators. You know, these laws are made by the Karens of the world and the fun police. They say that laws are meant to, you know, make the world a better place, a better society. I actually wonder if these laws are making society better. So far, I'm not seeing it. There is one thing I learned in this video while making this video. Sometimes change isn't progress. It's just change. Anyway, something to think about. Well, I hope you all like this video. You know, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And on to the next one. Deuces.